because they're hearing from the real estate community and the property owners.
They ought to, but I mean, what they ought to do now is go backwards and reassess the properties that are out there unserved and give people the tax.
Lower the assessment.
But they'll never do that.
They need to reassess every 5 years anyway.
Well, all I can say is that the number of people who now will approach our assessors say, you know, I should be getting a credit on my assessed value for the lack of internet in rural Hanover.
It's a major market background.
You're already telling me you're already getting it. But let us know when you get it and we'll
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the issue. No one wants to lower the assessments, but they're happy to raise them. No, I haven't heard that. I would imagine it would happen eventually. Once a whole town is covered, there could be sort of a magnet for people that, that want to do this like that.
I mean, if not through assessment, certainly through the fact that it's adds value to the community, to the economy, and all, which is where the residential and property values that way.
So people basically say, if I'm on your route in Norwich that is being proposed possibly for service, you're looking to accumulate a group of investors who are willing to invest $2,500 plus.
It's plus, not everyone invests. I mean,
right.
The investments have ranged from like $25,000, $50,000 down to $2,500.
So they're all getting together to finance it based on these note terms. Yeah. Plus you've got some investors who just think it's a good investment and like projects that aren't necessarily on the route.
Right.
That model is not working with major our lawsuit.
No, it would work. You couldn't have a municipal entity doing it. You'd have to have some sort of nonprofit or co-op or something. And you wouldn't have the tax-free interest bit. But my sense is that the tax-free interest piece is important for the people that are doing the investment for investment purposes. The bulk of the people are doing the investment to get the internet. They may not care what interest rate they get, and they may not care that it's a 20 or 30-year note. It's kind of easier to amortize for the entity. So we could look at terms that were less generous and maybe run over a longer period of time, but the form of corporate governance would have to be something else, either a nonprofit or a co-op or whatever. You need to look into that.
Well, exactly. Jeff Medic is a 501c3, so they could be the entity that would do the funding for it. Which is why we're watching with great interest in terms of how these fibers doing this, because the assumption is once the backbone is done and the last mile piece is and if they're built out, then we need to start figuring out how to finance the last mile from the backbone.
That's the thing, even though 5% interest rate, like that,
right, especially these days.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that it's illiquid, it's long term, and people have to look at it as something that's really going to enhance the value of their houses rather than the investment that's going to be a return. And it probably will in 30 years, it'll take itself back, but it's not why the average person's doing it. I mean, they're doing it because they're sick of driving the kids down to the library at 9 o'clock when the internet's down and there's some project to do. I think it's pretty crowded outside of Norwich.
Yeah.
And this one lady stops me in Indiana with like every month. I'm going to rent an office in town so my 2 high school sons can have a place to do their homework. They're doing it in their truck right now. And it's disruptive. I mean, the kids don't get enough sleep as it is, and now having to drive 20 minutes each way to go do their homework. But yeah, the important thing is to get the cost model down. I know Fast Roads has a different set of costs, but we do have a vendor that's able to, and I can talk to people about the exact architecture we're using. It's not quite a home run. The splitters are sort of spread out along the line, and that saves a little bit of money. But you have to have the cost to string it as low as possible, because even at $25,000 per mile, it still is not, there's not a huge return on investment. It's probably single digits. And you have to get big enough to, you can probably make it and run with 300 customers and squeak by, but it would be bare bones staff. You could actually have someone answer the phone all the time and do the repairs as quickly as people want to do it. So, depending on, I know you guys are thinking about a wholesale model ours is a retail model where we're charging subscribers about $90 a month. If someone came to us and wanted to use our network, we would set up a wholesale rate. But if you're going to use a wholesale rate, the average revenue per customer would have to be about $50 a month or $40 or something. And then you really wouldn't have any expenses as the wholesaler. You might be in charge of maintenance. I'm not sure how to structure that, but the model won't work with some of the original Fast Bros protections I saw. Some of the Fast Bros was going to charge internet retail at $25 a month, so that doesn't cover the $25,000 revenue. Divide by 6 is $4,000 per subscriber,
right.
Plus or minus. So you just got to do the math.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to use any more traffic with the cellular data ones that we're working on now.
Sure, and all the cellular data plans have caps, or they have mechanisms where if you use a certain amount, then they slow you way down, which I guess is better than a cap. But the satellite plans shut you off, and then you call them up and you say, okay, it's $10 for an extra gigabyte or whatever. Yeah, that seems to be a real nightmare. Yeah, the other thing we did not do, which saved a lot of money, is we didn't offer video, because the capital cost to offer a head-end for the video, all those channels times, is millions and millions of dollars. And a lot of people in our area already have Dish or DirecTV, so that's not. Everyone wants phone service, and everyone wants to keep their phone number. So that's important, even though we don't make money from it. And you can make money from it, but you need to have your own switch. You start out using a third party, and we'll probably switch over next year.
But you said you're investigating getting your own switch.
Right.
So capacity-wise, you're probably at the point where it's almost feasible to do that.
It's just a financial question. Yeah, subscribers.
What's the switch cost?
It costs about $250,000, but we're going
Like a pump station.
We're going to have 500 subscribers next year, and we're paying the third-party provider about $18 or $19 per month, and with the switch it would cost us about $5 a month. So anyway, the payback is sort of 3 or 4 years now. It doesn't make sense. And you can lease the switch, you don't have to pay for it. But those are sort of operational fees. I think the important thing is to develop an organization, develop a business plan, and then figure out if there's some target neighborhoods that are really gung-ho to do this. And I'd say a minimal size would be 20 to 30 miles of. And then you guys may have some economy of scale already if you can sort of leverage what Fast Bros has done in terms of using their back office and head end and things like that. So if the networks, the areas are contiguous in any way to Fast Bros, or I think Fairpoint probably has the same plan. You can use a Fairpoint plan to hopscotch around your area and use Fast Bros as sort of a model that might be enacted.
So Norwich is getting organized now. What next?
Norwich is done. Not all of it, but certainly the main routes, the Bragg Hill, Beaver Meadow area, the area in the northeast, called Newsick, up there by Campbell Flats and 132, and then there's some areas in the center of town that kind of in betwixt and between, but basically upper Turnpike.